We're on the Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network, the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment, totaltutor.net. For more information, Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook. And I'm excited to welcome the program X Games star, and she's an Olympic contender, Angeli Vanlaanen. Angeli, thanks for calling.
Thanks. Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's go specifically some background on your sport, and then we're going to go right into specifically your career. So tell us a little bit how you got involved in your sport, especially getting all the way to the X Games, and now soon that's going to be a part of the Olympics pretty soon.
I started skiing with my family. My family would go up to the mountain on weekends, our local mountain where I grew up, Mount Baker, Washington. And my brother, he's 2 years older than me. When we were teenagers, he started, jumping off of, cliffs and building little backcountry jumps on the side of runs. And he started skiing more the free skiing side of things. And so, of course, I had to follow him and do things like he was doing them. And that led us to going to Whistler one summer to experience park skiing, so half-pipe jumps and rails. And that's how we got introduced to this new kind of skiing. And from there, we just fell in love, and he moved to Colorado for school. And that was when I decided I wanted to move to Colorado as well when I graduated high school. And that was when I started really skiing half-pipe a lot. So I moved to Breckenridge.
Right. And half-pipe, Angeli, that's, again, starting this late. A lot of the people who compete with you, do they start this late in their career? After high school to really compete heavily in this?
It just depends. For the people in my generation, people who got into the sport, a lot of people did get in a little later because it was just building. It was just starting up. X Games was, the top pinnacle event for half-pipe skiing, and there weren't a lot of contests and events at this point featuring half-pipe. So it was just building and growing, and to see where it's come from to where it is now, having it be in the Olympics, it's just amazing.
Well, absolutely, and I'm sure you're excited about that fact. So explain to us what half-pipe is, especially for people who have not watched the X Games.
Half-pipe it's a U-shaped, it's hard to explain. It's U-shaped. They build up snow on both sides to create walls, and they're vertical. And when you take off from this wall, you're able to catch air, so to speak. So you are able to go into the air and do a trick, and then land back into the half-pipe on this wall. And you do that over and over again about 5 to 7 times, and that's called a half-pipe run. And so we compete doing half-pipe runs where we link together different tricks and maneuvers.
That's, Angeli, that's interesting in a lot of ways because it kind of reminds me of when we're talking about the Summer X Games, when you talk about specifically skateboarding and stuff and doing all those flips and stuff like that. So I guess that's why you can start at a later age doing this, is because you have to be an expert skier, but then it's just trying all these tricks and taking the chances, right?
Yeah, me getting into it late was the fact that I grew up at a mountain that didn't have a half-pipe, and it was more natural terrain and just beautiful powder ski days. And so getting into it later on for me was just a product of where I grew up skiing. But yeah, half-pipe started with skateboarding and progressed, into snowboarding, and then skiing started taking on this new event as well. So.
Did you ever want to compete in the Olympics in skiing when you've skied all your life before this? Before making the decision after high school to go on and compete more in the half pipe, did you have that knack that you were a pretty good skier?
Yeah, I always wanted to do whatever sport I was doing growing up. I wanted to do it to the highest level possible. So I did ballet for a lot of years and was in a company. I competed in ice skating and had dreams of going to the Olympics to compete for figure skating. And so when I started skiing more and more and that became my main focus, I absolutely wanted to take it to the top level. But at that point, the Olympics weren't an option for us for halfpipe and park skiing. And so my dream was the X Games. And now that, halfpipe skiing is in the Olympics, I mean, it's an amazing opportunity, and it's my dream of being an Olympian is possible. It's really phenomenal.
So talking about your opportunities, once you started training heavily, did you think that you had the talent to be in the X Games? Did you? Because I'm sure there's a lot of competition even for that opportunity and that honor because of how popular the X Games are.
Yeah, I really just skied because I loved it, and I pushed myself because I really enjoyed reaching that next level to see what I could do out there on my skis. And it was my brother who clued me into the fact that I was on a level where I could compete with these other girls. And he suggested that I go do this contest in Colorado. And he said, these girls are doing tricks that you can do, and I really think you would do well, and you could win money doing this. I mean, this could be a job for you. And he really clued me into that. And, I took a chance, and I went to Colorado and competed, and it really worked out, and it kind of just took off from there.
And also to remind people out there, you're a professional half-pipe skier, and that basically you, because of the popularity of X Games type events, they draw everywhere, right? When you go and compete in these events, the crowds are pretty large at the event.
Oh, the crowds! Yeah, it's amazing to see so many people come out and support our sport. And it's really exciting to watch. I go out and watch the snowboard events. At X Games, we have the skiing one night and the snowboarding a different night in the halfpipe. And I enjoy going out and watching athletes do tricks in the halfpipe, and it really is exciting. So we get great crowds. Yeah, amazing fan base. It's awesome.
Okay, so again, we're talking to Angeli Vanlaanen, and we're talking about specifically how she broke into the X Games half-pipe skiing type deal, and then finally the success she had to make the X Games. But during that time, you were suffering a lot in different ways, and you didn't know what was going on, and it happened most of your life. Tell us specifically what you were suffering with and had no idea what was going on.
When I was 10 years old, I lived in Wisconsin, and that year I started developing a lot of health issues, and doctors really couldn't put their finger on what it was specifically. I was diagnosed with one thing or another thing, but it ended up not being, the condition they thought it was. And so from 10 years old on, I really just had extreme fatigue, had a lot of body pain, a lot of joint pain. I started fainting kind of out of nowhere. I developed dyslexia, struggled with reading and vision. It really ranged the health struggles that I had over the years. And it wasn't until I was much older, 14 years later, that my aunt saw a documentary about Lyme disease. And in this documentary, she saw a lot of the symptoms that I had had over the years. And I was still, going to doctors and having them tell me they have no idea what's going on. They can't figure out where this is coming from. They even, suspected that it might be a psychological thing, which was really traumatic for me. And so to have my aunt give this suggestion, like, you should go get tested for Lyme disease, was, it was a relief to have something new to go to the doctor and ask them to look into. And I got tested for Lyme disease and was diagnosed 2 weeks later. And it was, at first, a relief to finally figure out what had been going on for so many years with my health. But at the same time, it was a long road to recovering my health because the Lyme disease had progressed so much in my body that it took 3 whole years to get into remission. So it's a bacteria that transferred from a tick bite, and this bacteria develops into a full-blown chronic illness like I experienced. And so antibiotic therapy, I hit it from every different angle with homeopathy and holistic medicine and lifestyle changes and diet changes. And I just really, tried to create healing in every area of my life to try and to beat this bug. And 3 years later, was able to return to skiing and get back to living my life.
Well, Angeli, I've have two friends. My sister-in-law has Lyme's disease, and also one of my clients has Lyme's disease, and she is suffering from palsy right now because of it. It got that severe, so she again, it's debilitating. It makes you tired. And Angeli, as a great athlete that you were your entire life, and still feeling that fatigue, you just probably had no idea why. I just am so motivated to do so well in these sports, and yet I just got so tired. It's that much has so been rough on you.
Yeah, over the years, I think having doctors not be able to tell me what was going on, I learned to just overcome. And that personality trait that I developed through being sick for so many years led me to really, dedicating, being motivated, and achieving what I did in sports. I really think that not giving up and having that kind of fighter, I'm going to achieve this and I'm going to overcome this attitude about my life and my health and everything going on for me, it really just enhanced my ability to push myself in sports. So as much as it was a hindrance, because physically I wasn't performing every day like I wanted to, I mentally became really strong and able to overcome things in sports because of this experience I had with my health.
Absolutely. And could you imagine, especially now competing, the energy you have now, how you feel better about yourself, and you're so glad you found this, and you want to bring awareness to other people, because how much of a better competitor are you now with overcoming this? What have you see the differences?
It's phenomenal to see. It's like day and night. When I train, in the gym and I'm building muscle and getting strong, it's so much more effective. My body is reacting and responding to my training. And then when I'm on the slopes, I go to do a trick or learn something new, and it's so much easier, I'd say. So to have, that hardship for a lot of years, it's almost, it's led me to just be able to really enjoy what I'm doing now and appreciate that it's coming easily to me.
Well, absolutely, and that's why you've decided to be involved with bringing awareness. Tell us specifically then, after overcoming this, how you want to get the word out to people suffering through this or might have symptoms like this to get tested.
My experience of going 14 years misdiagnosed really motivated me to give back and be a part of spreading awareness about Lyme disease, because there are so many people out there that don't know they have Lyme disease and who are suffering. So I, with the help of New Productions, this amazing production company from Colorado, we made a documentary film just sharing my story. So through my experience and, the beautiful imagery of skiing, it's an interesting 30-minute film that really gives you a good idea of what it's like to have this illness, and also, what I did to overcome it mentally, and just my story. And so I've been sharing that with the world. It's online for anyone to watch on Vimeo. It's called Limelight, Lymelight. And I just wanted to shed light on this illness and really just, contribute to someone else's life, like the documentary that, spurred my aunt to suggest I get tested for Lyme disease. I mean, that documentary changed my life, and I wanted to be that for someone else and really give back.
So you hope in your career to reach the highest success rate in halfpipe so you can get the word out to so many more people. The larger the platform, the more success you can have in skiing. That can help, and that's a driving force, I'm sure, the everyday training, the suffering you went through your entire life, not knowing what you had, so that you can bring that awareness to as many people as possible. I'm sure that's a driving force for you.
Yeah, I really have a unique opportunity being, a professional athlete and having the platform, of the X Games or, high-level competition and now the Olympics, that it is a huge motivation for me to really, spread the word and use that platform and my unique position to do a lot of good in the world and to give back. So, yeah, it motivates me every day to remember where I was and where I am now, how grateful I am to have my health back. And I want to contribute and give back to people so that they can have that as well.
So, Angeli, what's going on with your training now? When are trials, and when are you training for next upcoming X Games and also Olympics? Tell us what's happening next in that process.
So right now we're doing dry land training. I'm in Utah. I train up in Park City at the Center of Excellence, which is the U.S. ski team gym. And we're doing a lot of strength training and trampolining and getting set for when the snow falls. Come November, we'll be back on snow, and then December, the Olympic trial events start for the U.S. So we've got 5 events in December and January, and that will determine who makes the U.S. halfpipe team for Sochi. So it's happening quick. It's coming right up. And then the X Games are in January, and, just having a strong start to the season and being invited to that is a huge goal, and it's in my plan.
So what is the process, basically? Are there trials for the X Games as well?
The X Games are an invite-based event. They only invite a certain amount of athletes, but it's based upon your results. So if you show strong results in the early part of the season, you're likely to be invited. So they just take the top athletes from around the world. So very similar to the Olympics, but, there's less opportunity because there's less people being invited. And for the Olympics, it's, based on country. And the X Games they just look at everyone from around the world. And so as for the Olympics, we can only have a certain amount of athletes from the U.S. go. Even if, there's more of us in the top 10 in the world, And for X Games, they really pick the top 10, 15 athletes in the world, which is really a cool thing. So, yeah,
when do you know if you have an invite or not? When does that happen?
They just send them out throughout the fall and early winter. So they just kind of pick them a little bit at a time as the season gets underway.
So is your season going well so far?
It's going great. I was in New Zealand this summer. We had our first events of the year, and I actually placed second at both of them, which was phenomenal. And so, my season is off to a great start.
Great. Well, we'll have to have you back when you get the invite to the X Games, and especially after the Olympic trials. Tell us what's going on, and so we could start rooting for you and get that word out about beating Lyme disease. Because I'm hoping for a gold medal from you someday, saying, "Hey, I had you on before that happened." Because truly, you're spending this time right now on my radio show because you truly want people to get the word out about how to get cured and to get help from Lyme disease. And especially when it's happened in my family and also in friends, we need to tell people to be really warned about this and understand this. This happens everywhere. And people might think it's a learning disability. You better get tested for everything because you never know. All right, Angeli, where can we find information on you, your website, and more about fighting Lyme disease? What are the websites?
My website is angelivanlaanen.com, and there's a link to where to find the film on Vimeo, Limelight, the story of myself, and a great resource for Lyme information and all things Lyme disease is ilads.org, ILADS.org. And I represent a foundation that is just amazing, and they do such wonderful work, and that is limelightfoundation.org. And, those are great resources. They have lots of information about Lyme disease, also what you can do to get involved and educate yourself and give back if you are looking to do that.
Well, best of luck to you, and we'll definitely stay in touch via the social media to find out once you get the invite to the X Games, and we'll have to tweet that out. And best of luck in all your ventures. So thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
All right, take care. Okay, bye-bye. You're listening to Total Education Celebrity Show, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment, and we'll be back in just a moment.